Hello there, kiddos. Thanksgiving's almost here, and what does Thanksgiving make us think of? Turkeys, right? So, we all got turkeys on the mind. So, I have a sweet little story for you today, actually, about a little tiny turkey. He's a baby turkey at the beginning of the book, and his name is Little Tom Turkey. And Little Tom Turkey is so excited to grow up to be a big, colorful turkey, like all the big turkeys that he sees walking around in his family. And he asks his mom all the time, when am I going to be big and colorful and the king of the turkey herd, just like all those big turkeys? Well, he's got some growing up to do, and that's what this book is all about. Little Tom Turkey. He's just got to be patient. And it's by Frances Bloxham, and it is a sweet story for turkey time. So I want to share it with you. Little Tom Turkey. When little Tom hatched from a beautiful egg, the first thing he saw was his mother's long leg. So there he is coming out of the egg, and he sees Mama's big old leg. He came out of his shell quite soggy and wet. What would he look like? You couldn't tell yet. So he's not a big bird yet. Now, hen, that's his mama. That's what we call Mama Turkey. Hen Turkey settled back down on her nest and coddled her hatchlings close to her breast because they got to stay warm. Mother hen's feathers were fluffy and soft, so Tom snoozed for a bit while his feathers dried off. So when babies come out of their eggs, they're wet, so they have to dry off. So that's why he was snuggling close to Mama. There were 9 older hatchlings close to the nest. Little Tom wobbled out and he stood with the rest. Mother hen called them and said to her brood, "Now you all need a lesson on how to get food. Scratch, little turkeys, and look for a treat." Tom scratched, and it felt really good to his feet. So they all have to scratch in the dirt to find food. See how Mama Hen Turkey looks a little bit different than other turkeys? Well, she's got her feathers folded in too. It took a few tries to get things just right, but soon he was scratching from morning till night. So it didn't take long for him to learn how to get his food. So then he ate bugs and seeds with such vigor that it filled him right up and it made him grow bigger. So we got to eat good food to grow big. The hen took the flock to the edge of the wood. Close to the meadow, she stopped and she stood. Ooh, I see a big, pretty turkey out in the field. Little Tom looked ahead, and in front of his eyes was a marvelous turkey of remarkable size. His feathers just glistened and shone in the light. Never had little Tom seen such a sight. His elegant head was red, white, and blue. And this bird had a beard and handsome spurs, too. Then Big Gobbler did what a gobbler does best. He pulled back his head and he puffed out his chest. So see how he pulled his head back and he puffed out his chest? That's what those big turkeys do. He fanned out his tail and he slow marched with his feet. And he strutted right by without missing a beat. A wonderful gobbler, a turkey supreme. To strut just like him was little Tom's dream. So you can see little Tom right here watching the big gobbler turkey, and he's dreaming of being as big as him someday. Oh, how I would love to do that same thing, to fluff out my feathers and strut like a king. So then little Tom stretched up quite tall, and he tried to strut, but he was still too small. Oh, he fell over. Plunk. His balance was off. He tripped over his feet. His tail was too short, so he fell on his beak. Oh no, but he's got to practice. The hen called her little poults back to her side, and she gave them some lessons on how to survive. If you look at all these pictures in the book around the turkeys, those are all predators of turkeys. So that means they're all animals that live out in the wild that like to hunt turkeys and eat them. You must be wary. You must be fast. You must watch out if you're going to last. Beware of coyotes. Beware of the fox. Enemies lurk behind trees and behind rocks. Now flap your wings and try hard to fly. Flying decides if you live or you die. Everyone flapped, but no one took off. They were too young, with feathers too soft. So they were so little and their feathers were so soft that they couldn't fly yet. All through the summer, as he ate and he grew, Tom practiced his flying and tried strutting too. He'd pull back his head, but his chest wouldn't puff, and his tail wouldn't spread. It was really tough. So he's trying. On a day when the flock was pecking and scratching, they all felt quite safe, but someone was watching. Oh no, it's the fox. A fox who was hungry thought they would taste good. He crept slowly forward out of the wood. Uh-oh. Run, little ones! There's a fox over there. Run as fast as you can. There's no time to spare, said Mama Hen. She's telling her little ones, run, run, run. All the poults ran as fast as they could. They hoped to be safe in the midst of the wood. The fox was so close that Tom plainly could hear the snap of fox jaws right on his rear. I'd better get going, or I have a hunch I could end this day as this red fellow's lunch. Uh-oh. Tom ran, but the fox was right on his tail. Tom gave a big leap, and he started to sail. Look, I think he's taken off. I think he's gonna fly. His wings really worked. He had power to spare. What a wonderful feeling to soar through the air. Tom's landing was off, too much wobble and flutter, but I got away, and next time I'll do better. Now that I'm flying, perhaps it is true that I'm ready for strutting. I'll try that out too. Once again, little Tom tried out his strut, hoping this time not to fall on his butt. He fluffed up his feathers and threw out his chest. He flapped down his wings and he gave it his best. He spread out his tail, got his legs into gear, but alas, he still ended up on his rear. Oh no. Then winter came and the meadows were brown. The flock searched for food and the snow drifted down. The winter was cold and the winter was long, though he didn't know it yet, but Tom had grown strong. So he didn't know it yet, but he was growing into the big old turkey. Look, I think this is Tom. Winter did end and the meadow turned green. The bugs, leaves, and berries were once again seen. One warm spring morning, young Tom flew down from his roost in a tree to sunbathe on the ground. So there he is. He stood there amazed at the turkey reflected. The image he saw was not what he expected. So he walked up to the stream and he looked into the water and he saw his reflection. And it was him. He was a big turkey now. Look at that. Oh my gosh. No more, little Tom. Oh my gosh, now a gobbler of size. The way he had changed came quite a surprise. His feathers just glistened, and there were spurs on his feet, and he had a beard. He was gobbler complete. His elegant head was red, white, and blue. He was totally a gobbler, handsome and new. Yay for him! The new gobbler did look how pretty he is. Look at that. He's strutting around. Woo! The new gobbler did what a gobbler does best. He pulled back his head and he puffed out his chest. He fanned out his tail and slow marched with his feet and strutted right by without missing a beat. He strutted a strut that was fit for a king, a strut of perfection of head, tail, and wing. He is strutting around because he is all proud of how he is a big gobbler now, all colorful and full of feathers. Oh, wonderful gobbler. Oh, turkey supreme. At last, young Tom Turkey was living his dream. So he is so happy now. That was his dream, to be a big turkey. And now he's probably going to be a daddy turkey someday. So down here, what I love about books like this is this book says right here, let's talk about wild turkeys. And wild turkeys, there's a lot of cool, interesting facts about wild turkeys. That's not a wild turkey that you see in that video. That's a cattail. That's my kitty Hemi. So let's talk about wild turkeys. This is what a wild turkey looks like. If you were to see one out in the wild, sometimes we have wild turkeys that are out here in the field. But this is a full-grown male. Check him out. He has a beak. So he's got a beak, a snood, and crunkles. Those are all part of his face. So that long red thing here is a crunkle. And that's a snood, and there's his beak. And he's got a beard. Wow. And he's got spurs on the back of his legs. Not the kind that jingle jangle like a cowboy, but maybe, that's maybe where they get the name, spurs, like on cowboy boots. And then he's got wing feathers, which are right here, and he's got tail feathers, shaking his tail feathers. Where do wild turkeys live? And what do they eat? And where do they sleep? Wild turkeys live in forests, fields, and meadows. They need trees for nuts and fruits, and bushes for berries, and sunny edges of fields for insects, grain, and seeds. They also need a stream, river, or pond nearby for water. They roost, which means sleep, in the forest trees. I didn't know that. They sleep in trees. Huh. Does a flock stay in one place all the time? No. They move as needed for food. Turkeys eat a great deal. So once they have eaten everything they like in one location, they move on. So they're all in their herd, and once they eat everything they can, they move on to a new location. Are wild turkeys like the domestic turkeys on farms? So you have wild turkeys that live in forests, and then you have what's called domestic turkeys. Those turkeys live on farms, the turkeys that you see on farms. So anytime you hear the word domestic, that means that it's kind of almost like a pet. Domestic almost means like it's friendly to humans. Like a domestic cat is like our house cats, whereas wild cats are like bobcats and cougars and lynxes. So remember that word, domestic. That means that it's friendly with humans. No, they are quite different. Wild turkeys are taller and have long, powerful legs, longer necks, and great strong wings. They are streamlined. Farm turkeys are bred to be heavy and meaty. with plump legs and breasts, which is their chests. Wild turkeys are strong, fast flyers, up to 55 miles per hour. I think a wild turkey could get mean if you mess with them. While domestic turkeys have smaller wings and quickly grow too big and heavy to fly at all. So wild turkeys can fly and they can get away from things. But domestic turkeys that are pretty much bred a lot of times to eat for Thanksgiving can't really fly. Their wings are too small and they're too big and heavy. Do wild turkeys lay eggs every day the way chickens do? No. A hen turkey will lay eggs only in the spring. Sometimes in February, March or April. Depending on where she lives, she will lay one nearly every day until there are 10 or 12. Wow. Her nest is just a shallow depression in the earth where the eggs will be hard to spot. She also covers them with leaves. When she is done laying, she sits on the eggs to keep them warm so they will hatch. So just like a duck or a chicken, she sits on those eggs to keep them warm till they hatch. What does a hen turkey do to protect her eggs? If there is a predator around that likes to eat her eggs, such as a fox, skunk, raccoon, or weasel, the hen sits absolutely still. If this doesn't work and the animal finds her, she will run from the nest and finally fly away to escape. She will return if the eggs are still there. So she sits really still and hopes the predator doesn't see her. But if he does, she'll fly away and hope that he doesn't get her eggs. And there is a female. So there you have a male wild turkey, big guy, all fluffy and colorful. And here is a girl turkey. There's a female turkey. She's a little more slender. How long does it take for the eggs to hatch? It takes 26 to 28 days. The poults, which are babies, are strong enough to leave the nest to look for food when they are less than a day old. Wow. Poults eat insects, seeds, and berries. As they get older, they will eat nuts, grain, fruits, and just about anything else. If I see a wild turkey, how can I tell if it's a hen or a tom? Oh, I just got that. Tom turkey. A tom is a male turkey and a hen is a female turkey. Light bulb, everybody. Did you just get that too? But you could name your turkey Tom as well if you had a pet turkey. A tom turkey is a large, handsome bird with a featherless, colorful head and spurs on his legs and a beard sprouting from his chest. We talked about that already, remember? His feathers are iridescent, which means they're shiny and they kind of make colors. And he is a fine sight. A hen is smaller. She has no spurs, or a beard. There's a young male. So the young boys do start out looking like this, but then they grow up to be big and colorful. So a hen is smaller. She has no spurs or a beard, and her head has very few feathers. Her general appearance is very drab, so she's not as pretty as the boy turkeys. She needs this lack of color to make her hard to see. This keeps her and her brood safe, which means her little babies. So I guess that makes sense. If the male turkey, boy turkey has to be prettier, there's a reason, right? The girl turkey has got to be not as flashy or as colorful so she can blend in better with the trees and the grasses so she can protect herself and her baby. So that's good. Do all turkeys strut? Nope. Only toms strut, and they do it mostly in the spring. Ooh, can you guys guess why a male boy turkey would strut around looking all cool? It's because he's trying to get a girlfriend. The strut is a courtship action the tom uses to show off for the hens. Toms may strut so often enthusiastically that they wear off the tips of their wing feathers. Oh, so see, maybe that's where we got the where we say sometimes people strut around if they want to look all cool and fancy. Maybe that's where we got it from, is from how turkeys and birds strut. So that's pretty cool. So the book says to look for turkeys by country roads and fields because in the spring, when they are moving the most, you want to look really hard. They're really not super easy to see, but you may see them, especially if you live out in the country or near forests. So that's it. Boy, I learned so much when I read books to you guys. This is called Little Tom Turkey. I thought his name was Tom when I read it. And this is the second time I've read this book. So I guess we could say his name's Tom, but we also know that a baby boy turkey is also called a Tom because we learned that today. So let me get this book straight. So that was Little Tom Turkey. Boy, I really enjoyed that. I hope you did too, and I hope you learned a lot about wild turkeys, and maybe you guys can kind of keep your eyes out for them when you're out and about or driving through the country next spring, okay? All right, you guys have a great day. It was so nice visiting with you. I'll see you again soon, okay? Bye bye.